Hey Anna, I've just got to say I'm so sorry about that. My mum died Sunday night and I'm point person on the funeral, so I've got lots of people contacting me all the time. So I do apologise. Sorry about this. There's some people I just can't not answer when I've been trying to get onto them all day. Okay, anyway, all good. So part 3, thanks hun. Okay, so going into that little HPA, waking up the oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, feel-good hormones. So we get some nice energy underneath the adrenaline, underneath that go, go, go. Okay. So the next little area showing up is the subcallosal gyrus. So subcallosal gyrus, so we've whipped out of the sympathetic nervous system and for a moment, and we've whipped up to the subcallosal gyrus. This is to do with internalized frustration. And once again, you can imagine with a health issue, for a little person who can't comprehend really what's going on. 3-year-olds are adorable and amazing, but man, when something's going bad in your life, it like encompasses all of your life. So let's just have a little look. You know, when it's bad, it's bad. So the subcallosal gyrus is when we try to internalize our frustration, and then we, you know, it comes out in other ways. So this little one showed up before, and it was about the docility, submission, codependence. This is a different circuit where the kidney ones it's just somewhere on the spectrum for the subcallosal gyrus. When kidney ones show up, it's somewhere between docility and anger, you know, so somewhere between that sort of energy. It's sort of like it's a fairly big spectrum. Okay, back to the reticular activating system again. Okay, so noradrenaline again. Right, so this one's showing up kidney 1 energy, which is different to before, but this time it's to do with when the nervous system is just focused. You know, it's like when you're itchy and you can't not focus on the itch. It's like saying, don't think of monkeys, don't think of monkeys, don't scratch your skin. You know, there's when the nervous system is 100% laser focused on something, it's hard to switch it off. Ras again, man. So her little nervous system is really focused on what's going on. Once again, when her nervous system is focused on what's going on, because that's what we've got stacked in, you know, those sort of histamine issues, the skin, the being constant, being difficult to relax. So that's sort of the concept that we're sort of balancing out here. But this time the reticular activating system, it's very much about the skin. So it's about the body organs, and the skin is, of course, the biggest detox organ. So let's just energetically stacking her little body. Yeah, and then it's acetylcholine that's running, so that's like the triple shot of coffee. So the energy just gets really, really active, really vibrant, really awake, and that again pushes that nervous system just focused on it. You know, so when it's active, it's really, really active. Okay, so let's go in and see what organs are being affected by so all of these reticular activating system circuits. So before RAS, sympathetic nervous system, showed up, and it was the governing meridian, so that unconscious energy. So we'll see what else is going on. Okay, so good old brain. Do I need to check the connections between left and right sides of the brain? We do. Okay, so CC, trust and trust issues. Trust and trust issues. Trust in self. Trust in close family and friends. Trust in deserving individuals. Okay. So there's a little bit of fear, threat, danger in there in relation to that. I know she's like a confident, vibrant little chickie babe. And being so smart and switched on, sometimes they know who they can trust and who they can't trust as well. And sometimes that brain is just constantly working, constantly ticking over. CC trust, AC sponsor me to play A, B, C, D. Okay, fourth hippocampal circuit. So this is lack of internal motivation because of the internal thought processes. So yeah, she's got a busy little brain. Yeah, so she'd rather escape, submission, freeze. She'd rather run away than have to focus on something she didn't want to have to focus on. Because obviously the stuff we love is easy. You know. Okay, little lungs, interesting. Okay, so interesting. Like the two words showing up, and this isn't obviously anything to do with being a 3-year-old, because the two emotions stuck in the lung energy are prejudice and feeling smothered, which once again is sort of interesting given that we're dealing with the skin. Lung energy is often about grief, guilt, regret, so there's something weird going on there. So let me just ask, since we're in the part of the brain, the periventricular survival system, sometimes this can be up to 7 generations of how we cope with stress. So it might not be her stuff, it might be yours or your ex's, or you know, somewhere in that whole generational quagmire going on. Okay, so where do we need to go? So into the energy of mum, into the energy of dad. Okay, into the energy of dad's mum, into the energy of dad's dad. Into the energy of dad's mum, into the energy of dad's dad. into the energy of dad's mum, into the energy of dad's dad. Yeah, right, it's a real masculine line. Into the energy of dad's mum, into the energy of dad's dad. Yeah, right. We're going back generationally for her up the masculine line. And of course the masculine organs are the things like stomach and large intestine and bladder and gallbladder and small intestine and triple heater. So the masculine energy, and they're a lot about putting stuff through the body, through the stomach, through the small intestine, through the large intestine. If they're all blocked, stuff isn't going to be getting through, stuff isn't going to be getting out, stuff isn't going to be working properly. So that's sort of interesting. So just a little bit of an analogy, especially when you want to be detoxing, when the skin is playing up, what's going on in underneath that's allowing us to be blocked. But yeah, so there's 5 generational boys there. So dads. And I didn't keep going because, let's face it, that's enough. I think there was a pattern going on there. Okay, so once again, looking at this masculine energy within the body. And then all of a sudden it flips from lung to large intestine. So from the feminine to the masculine. Regrets, self-worth, depression, letting go, sadness, powerless, toxic shame. So a whole quagmire of large intestine energy stuck in that masculine energy. Little darling. Okay, so what do we need to do there? Okay, so we've got another bush flower essence. Red Helmet Orchid showed up, which is sort of funny because Red Helmet Orchid is about authority. Rebelliousness, hot-headedness, unresolved father issues. Interesting. Selfishness. So the positives are male bonding, sensitivity, respect and consideration. So, but interesting, the father issues going back all those levels genetically or inherited or past life, depending on how you look at it, sort of can be any of those things. How many drops? 13 drops, that's massive. Like that's a massive dose for a little munchkin. Yeah, so within that genetic pathway, there's despondency. It's sort of funny because sadness and despondency showed up earlier on when that frontal cortex, the HPA showed up. So that's somewhere in the genetic line, there's some real sadness, depression, despondency. Which once again makes the nervous system want to run away. So hers might be manifesting in the skin because within her little body, you're 3 years old, you don't get to run away. You don't get to choose what you want to do when you want to do it. And we just stay and we do. But obviously she's constant and on the go and an amazing little human being. Calming any and all survival patterns. Calming any and all survival patterns. Releasing any and all genetic trauma. Releasing any and all inherited trauma. Releasing any and all past life energy. Okay. So just stacking that in popped us into a pain and punishment circuit. So I don't know if you know anything about the masculine line. Let's see if the 5 element chart has shimmied along with this. Yeah, it has. Okay. Gallbladder energy, so more masculine energy. Helplessness. Reaching out with love. And obviously when it shows up, it's because there's a problem with it. Adoration or a lack thereof, not being adored. And losing your choice over something you have to do. So they're the sort of things her little nervous system's dealing with that have come through that genetic pathway. Do we need any more of that at this moment? No? Okay, I need to put some rose quartz at her heart. And I'm going to put the zeolite up on the third eye. Help to detox that pineal gland. You know, when it gets coated, it really messes with our hormones in the body. Okay, where are we? We're going through the organs with the sympathetic nervous system. Let's see what else shows up. Yeah, so heart chakra just showed up. Heart organ, heart chakra. Okay, so the heart combination, heart, thymus, right, and there's some rage and anger in underneath that heart chakra. So when we have a lack of self-love, self-worth, self-belief, our heart chakra shrinks and it's harder to give our love out to other people. Because how can we love other people when we're not loving ourselves? Once again, when we go, we don't even know these little things. Now, it doesn't mean she doesn't love you. It doesn't mean you don't love her. It doesn't mean any of that sort of stuff. But there's a genetic tendency in there for the little heart chakra to be under fire if some of these emotions sort of come through. So the more resilient, little Victoria is more amazing of a human being she's going to get as she gets older, and she's obviously got that in spades. Let's just shimmy, shimmy. Beautiful. Okay, so that's just opened up another reticular activating circuit. That's a little busy part of the brain. It's in behind the brain stem. Did you mention anything about her little birth? The induction, that's right. Okay. So we'll also stack anything. We'll also stack in any and all birth injuries or any and all birth traumas. There's a couple of little things I'm just thinking at the moment that I'll mention. There's a process called Wim Hof breathing. Check it out on YouTube. The guy's actually got videos to talk you through it. Wouldn't be a bad idea starting Victoria out learning how to do that, so that can bring her back into, You know, it's good for the immune system, it's good for the nervous system, it's good for calming survival patterns down, it's good for all sorts of stuff. So that might be something. And the other thing is the Moro reflex exercise, if you and her were to do that every day. So on my YouTube channel somewhere, maybe I've got a playlist called Primitive Reflexes. So if you actually, maybe it's not called that, but anyway, if you type in somewhere, and you ask Moro, M-O-R-O reflex, or even if you just type in Google Moro reflex Madonna Guy, you'll find me doing the Moro reflex. So if you and Victoria were to do that every day as well, you know, just to start, what that does, every time you do that, it helps to connect your front and rear of the brain. You could alternate it, one day do Wim Hof, one day do the Moro exercise. They both do very similar things. They both boost your immune system. They both help to regulate your nervous system. They both help with immunity. They both do lots of really good stuff. So just something physically you can do to get her body, you know, calmed down on a regular basis. Yeah, and I'm not surprised with all of this that her sleeping is just not great, because yeah, that overwhelming survival, abso-jolly-lutely. Okay, so once again, back to the organs, lungs, heart. Okay, so they're showing up okay now. Right, then we hit the triple heater meridian. So, yeah, so we've already done a little bit of work on the adrenals, but the immune system is the part showing up now of the triple heater meridian energy. Mainly energy mismatch. That's sort of interesting. I'm going to have to do the other ones anyway, but the energy mismatch, it means there's something in her body isn't recognizing. I mean, it's no big deal whether or not, maybe let me know at some stage about her vaccine status and which ones she's had and which ones she hasn't. This gives me a few little bits and pieces that I can check within the immune system. So back to the immune system, right? So now we need more information. Okay. So firstly, in relation to any and all trauma around the birth, right? So this time, all the immune system pathways are showing up in relation to any and all birth trauma. Any and all birth trauma. Releasing any and all birth trauma. Releasing any and all birth trauma. Releasing any and all birth trauma. Okay. Any and all genetic issues with the immunity. Oh yeah, okay. Any and all genetic immune system issues. Any and all genetic immune system issues. Any and all genetic immune system issues. Okay. So, obviously the whole evolution of vaccines, things have gotten different over the years. There's something about vaccine toxins in that genetic family line on the dad's side. So we'll just stack in any and all vaccine toxins. Any and all vaccine toxins. Releasing any and all vaccine toxins. Releasing any and all vaccine toxins. Releasing any and all vaccine toxins. And there's an energy mismatch to that as well. Releasing any and all vaccine toxins. 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 Right. There's a pain and punishment circuit in there in relation to the vaccine toxins. What's interesting is that none of the stress sort of stuff is showing up with the immune system, you know, so being constant, not being able to calm down, those things aren't showing at this point, which is good. But, however, the dad having psoriasis and allergies. So let's check in relation to histamines. Any and all histamines. Yeah. So that's messing. The body knows what it is. The energy mismatch isn't showing up, but the other 4 immune system pathways are showing up. So any and all vaccine. Histamines. So histamine, nothing wrong with it. It's important as an anti-allergy nutrient. But if the body can't actually get it out of the body, then we can build up histamine. And the histamine builds up in the gut, the brain, the spine, and the uterus. And then, and maybe, I don't know whether there's any towers near your place, you know, 5G towers, EMFs, that sort of thing, whether you need some protection in your house. Because if you can see any towers from the bedroom windows, you can be getting in that energy throughout the night. So that can be that, and EMFs and histamine, they sort of drive each other a bit in susceptible little human beings. And you know, a lot of schools these days have got towers on them, and so there's, you know, and they're popping up all over the place, like cockroaches. So since that's shown up, and you know, the salicylates and all of those sort of things as well, which all can be, maybe the villi aren't working very well. So let's check to see whether or not lectins has been an issue, which, because she's mostly dairy-free and gluten-free, not likely, but nonetheless, she's on such a limited diet, poor little darling. So let's have a look. In relation to lectins, no, okay. Let's check if she's got enough hormone DAO. Okay, so neither the stomach nor the small intestine are making enough DAO, diamine oxidase, which means that once the histamine is released and it settles in places, it's having a hard time getting the histamine out of the body. Now, with her little sensitive body, the sort of things that help to pull excess histamine out are vitamin C, N-acetylcysteine, glutathione, those sort of things. And there's a few things that we might be able to get into something she's having, you know, powdered forms. But once again, you know her little taste buds better, but we can chat about that afterwards. Once again, I'm so sorry. I'm very busy at the moment, so I am missing things with people. So my apologies. So DAO. So both the stomach and small intestine. Yeah, so when the histamine builds up in the brain, it can create anxiety and stress. When the histamine builds up in the spine, it can mess with nervous system energy to anywhere else in the body. Obviously, she's too little for her uterus to be playing up, jolly well hope. And the gut, you know, it can just mess with the gut from working properly. So sometimes probiotics in the correct doses can really help that as well. But the histamine's like lots of other things. It's too much of a good thing. It's great when we need that anti-allergic thing. It sort of helps to, but that will be making her skin hot. You know, so histamines will be making her skin hot. And definitely not making enough with either the stomach or the small intestine. Did the flower essence little flannel flower show up before? So it's for you know, needing softness and cuddles and love in your life, and it's sort of when there's been some real challenges going on. So, you know, once again, because her skin has been such an issue for her, you know, when she gets a snuggle and the skin isn't upset, it probably gives her that real sense of peace and calm. Let's check. So often the villi just aren't working as well as they should. So I'm going to check the immune system in relation to optimal villi in the intestines. All right. Okay, so 2 out of 4 immune system, energy mismatch is fine. So it's not all of them, it's like 2 out of them, so that's a bit of a something. So the homeopathics will have probably done some good work there. So continue through the little organs. Okay. Right. Spleen, pancreas. So, don't know what she's like sugar craving wise, but obviously sugar can sort of mess with the immune system. But of course she's 3, you know, so anything that we do needs to be done nice, and she's on such a good diet, being, you know, sort of having the dairy free and gluten free, and you know, sometimes with the reaction to grasses, there was a study done in 2014, I think, with some Aussie researchers, and they found that grasses have got hundreds of types of gluten. You know, so when grasses grow and the tops of them, and then you mow them down, we're releasing gluten into the atmosphere. And at the time, in 2012 or 14 or whenever it was, there was one lab in Germany that could test for 13 types of gluten. Now that's probably improved by now. You know, you don't hear updates to these things, you just sort of think at the time, go, right, okay, so there's hundreds of types of gluten and we can test for 13. So the best lab in the world. I'm sure it's improved. But quite often grass allergies are because of the glutens. Yeah, so thinking about the moro reflex exercise, just have it as a fun little game that you and her do, just to help, you know, calm down that birth trauma, which hopefully, you know, will just, you know, really start to help to connect those pathways. Or, like I say, the Wim Hof breathing can be really important as well. Oh, you know, just as something, you know, for you girls to just start getting as a little habit. Let's do some breathing, you know, make it a little bit fun. Yeah, so the histamine seems to be a bit of a thing. So I'm going to muscle test up some supplements and sort of things in a minute. Not sure how you can hide things in, but certainly because you have things like lactose-free milk and goat's milk and things like that. Some of the things that I'm thinking don't have a lot of flavour, and maybe you can hide them in, you know, goat's milk, and because we don't want to make things hard. Just, it needs to be easy. Poor little darling. Okay. So let's go back and check. So, once again, okay, so the deep survival has calmed down. Yep, the celestial circuits calmed down. Auditory integration points. Okay, so the auditory integration points are overworking or underworking. It's usually overworking, so the body is hypersensitive with what we're hearing, but sometimes kids, they just don't hear a darn thing when they don't want to. So it could be one or the other. But once they're overactive, it means that when they're hearing, they're not necessarily hearing and comprehending. And I know, once again, she's only 3, but nonetheless, the tone can make a difference to kids and how they hear things. The belief of what they believe is being said can make a difference with how they comprehend things. So lots of things go into the little mix of little humans' brains. There's just a bit of fear, threat, danger in relation to what she's hearing, which is sort of interesting. Okay. And there goes the solar plexus chakra. You know, that whole sense of self, sense of purpose. Once again, she's only 3. But when things are tougher than you want them to be, it's hard being a little human. And hey, what a tough 2 years to be in Victoria, you know, for her. And for you. better. We need another flower essence just to finish off with. Yeah, right. So it's fringed violet. So fringed violet is around trauma. Fringed violet for damage to aura, distress, lack of psychic protection. So it helps with removal of effects of recent or old and distressing events. Heals damage to the aura and also gives psychic protection. Now, little kids are generally fairly psychically protected. It's part of, you know, that mechanism here on Earth, keeping them safe. Everyone looks after children except for those who don't. So, how many drops do we need of fringed violet? Yeah, 9 drops. Does make me wonder if something happened to one of the men in that family line when they were little. Doesn't matter, we can clear it anyway. It'll help to balance it out. Okay. Okay, so the first priority is a probiotic called LGG. So the LGG strain is one of the things that helps to regrow the villi in the intestines. Yeah, right. And it's 40 billion a day, so that's a big dose. They come in capsules, but you just open the capsules, and each one has got 20 billion in it. Let me know if you can't get it near you, and I can post some down. Okay. The second thing showing up is vitamin C. So I don't know whether you can get vitamin C into her yet, whether or not, because there's no vitamin C that's flavourless, you know, it just doesn't seem to exist. So have a think about how you might do that, because vitamin C helps to pull out the excess histamine. Yeah, and because she's salicylate sensitive, sometimes, you know, a lot of the foods that are high in salicylates are often really high, you know, like a lot of the berries, those really beautiful coloured fruits and veggies are often high in salicylates, so she might just be vitamin C deficient because of her salicylate sensitivity, in which case hopefully as we grow her villi in the intestine, her body can make more enzymes and therefore be able to heal itself, you know. But so the first priority is LGG, the second priority is vitamin C. If you think she'd take a supplement, let me know, you know, I've got, oh, but you might be able to get a really good buffered vitamin C as well. Yeah, they're the first two priorities. So LGG and vitamin C. Okay, little darling Victoria. This is a new program for this body now and in the future. The old program for this body is now and in the future. Hallelujah and amen. Okay. Okay, beautiful girls. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.